The world's richest man is retiring from Amazon. Kind of. Hi there, thanks for joining us at Plain English this Thursday. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and this full lesson can be found at plainenglish.com/343. We are already in March of 2021. Time flies. Looking forward to some nicer weather here in Chicago. We had a really cold and snowy February. I'm glad to put that behind us. Coming up on today's lesson, Jeff Bezos founded Amazon.com from his home in Seattle in 1994. That business made him the world's richest man. Now, he has decided to semi-retire from Amazon. I'll explain what exactly I mean by that. The phrasal verb today is step back from, and JR has a song of the week. Jeff Bezos, the world's richest man, announced that he will step back from his duties as chief executive officer of Amazon, the e-commerce behemoth he founded at his home in 1994. The company announced last month that the 57-year-old Bezos would transition to executive chairman. As such, he will remain involved in the strategic decision-making of the company, more so than other members of the board of directors, but he won't be in charge of day-to-day operations as CEO. That role will fall to 53-year-old Andy Jassy. He's currently the head of Amazon's cloud computing division, which currently represents over half of Amazon's profits. Jassy will take over a sprawling empire of businesses that serves both consumers and other companies. Amazon started selling books online at a time when online shopping was new. It soon branched out into music and movies, then delivered on CDs and DVDs. It now sells household goods, electronics, groceries, video games, and any assortment of other business or household items. It pioneered the concept of free shipping for online orders. Its e-book reader, the Kindle, established a functioning market for electronic books thanks to its software that prevents piracy. Later, it became a leader in voice assistants and has sold millions of its Alexa smart devices. The software is now enabled on third-party speakers and devices too. Its Prime membership started as a way for consumers to get free shipping. Today, it's a multimedia streaming service, complete with streaming music, movies, and exclusive TV shows. As a movie studio, Amazon produces some of its own shows just for Prime members, but it rents and sells electronic access to mainstream movies and shows too. Amazon is popular in the US, Germany, UK, Japan, Mexico, and dozens of other markets. As an e-commerce platform, it does well in markets with shopping cultures similar to the US. It failed in and eventually pulled out of China. It has struggled in India. It only started selling merchandise in Brazil in 2017 and has struggled against a local competitor. Besides its consumer business, Amazon has a powerful business-to-business presence as well. Amazon built its own cloud computing infrastructure to serve its own business in the early days. It turned around and sold access to that cloud computing engine to other companies. Today, Amazon Web Services is one of the leaders in cloud computing alongside Microsoft. Amazon also lets businesses sell on its platform. In the early days, Amazon itself sold everything that appeared on its site. Today, third-party sellers can create an online store using Amazon's infrastructure. Amazon will even store and ship goods for small business people for a fee. Amazon is also dabbling in so-called moonshot projects, businesses that seem far-fetched now, but could be revolutionary in the future. Its drone delivery project is an example of that. It's said to be working on a cure for the common cold. Amazon and Bezos have steadily amassed power and market share and have largely avoided controversy and missteps. Only two exceptions to that rule come to mind: Bezos' divorce and the HQ2 debacle. A few years ago, Amazon announced it would build a second headquarters somewhere in the United States, and the company invited cities to compete for the privilege of hosting its second headquarters, or HQ2. It was a public relations disaster. Mayors around the U.S. bowed before Amazon and begged it to come to their cities. These mayors spent millions of dollars on proposals and offered Amazon billions of dollars in special tax breaks. In the end, Amazon punted and chose two cities for its HQ2, New York and the suburbs of Washington, D.C. It then backed out of its commitment to New York after the city threatened to reduce some of the tax benefits it had offered. This was a blow to the company's reputation. Bezos himself took a backseat role during the HQ2 fiasco, but he was the center of the other notable Amazon controversy in recent years, a very public divorce from his well-liked wife, Mackenzie, who helped in Amazon's early days. The controversy included an affair, a model, tabloid magazines, threats of blackmail, and explicit photos. The company survived both those embarrassments. Amazon has largely avoided the high-profile controversies that have plagued other fast-growing companies. It had no governance scandals like WeWork, no Me Too moments like Uber, no privacy fiascos like Facebook, no associations with bad actors like YouTube, and none of its founders left, as at Instagram and WhatsApp. That's not to say that everyone loves Amazon. Far from it. Amazon fought hard with book publishers over pricing of its ebooks. Amazon relented over ebook pricing, but publishers still don't trust it. Advocates for small business often protest that Amazon is destroying Main Street by putting small shops out of business. Indeed, many brick-and-mortar businesses have suffered from Amazon's deep discounts and free shipping. Workers have complained about the low wages at its warehouses and the creepy way the company monitors worker performance. Bezos is stepping back from his duties at a tense moment for the tech industry. Lawmakers in Europe and the US are belatedly coming to grips with the power of big technology companies. In June, Bezos himself testified before an American congressional committee investigating whether or not his company is abusing its market power. One congressman said Amazon was operating its own private government. Jassy, who has been with the company almost since its founding, will have to contend with political challenges on both sides of the Atlantic. As for Bezos, he'll have plenty to keep him busy. He is the founder of Blue Origin, a spaceship company, and he owns the Washington Post, an influential American newspaper. He'll also get to work on spending all the money he's made. A few days after Amazon announced his retirement as CEO, the founder was spotted with his girlfriend on a luxury yacht off Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. Amazon is just so convenient. I'm running low on coffee filters. It was probably only 3 taps on my phone, and I had ordered more. Free shipping, low price, they'll be here tomorrow. I've been buying a lot of used books lately, too. These are books that libraries don't need anymore or that people donate or sell. You can get used books for just a few dollars, and they're just as interesting and entertaining as the new ones, and you can save a lot of money. Not everyone likes Amazon, but it sure is useful to me. Today's expression is step back from. It's very common to use this in the business world, and that's how I used it today. Jeff Bezos is going to step back from his day-to-day duties as CEO of Amazon. That means he's going to reduce his duties, but not eliminate them entirely. When someone steps back from a job or a role, that person is not quitting. Instead, that person is just going to lower the intensity of their work or reduce their attachment to the role or the company. Bezos, as you heard, is not going to quit working at Amazon entirely. Instead, he will be executive chairman. That means he won't be a day-to-day chief executive officer. He'll be on the board of directors. However, he'll be an active member of the board. He'll be involved in a lot of the strategic decision-making, but he won't be the CEO. He will be involved. That's why we say he's stepping back from his duties as CEO. You might have stayed in a Marriott hotel before. That is my preferred chain of hotels when I travel. The CEO of Marriott is being treated for cancer, so he stepped back from his day-to-day duties. Unlike with Jeff Bezos, he will hopefully continue to be CEO in the future. But while he's undergoing treatment, he is stepping back from the day-to-day running of the company. Do you remember when Prince Harry and his wife announced they were stepping back from their royal duties? As soon as I heard that phrase, I knew this was carefully negotiated, and it was the perfect term for what I think they wanted to communicate. Prince Harry is far, far back in the line of succession. He is never realistically going to become king. In light of that, he and his wife were facing a future of having to follow all the rules of the British monarchy without the possibility of his being king. So they decided to step back from their royal duties. They didn't say they were quitting the family. They didn't say they hated Britain and were renouncing their titles. Certainly not. In fact, they carried on selling branded merchandise that traded on their status as royals. Their status as members of the royal family no doubt helps them assimilate in the highest social circles in Los Angeles. So, they are not cutting off all ties. But don't ask them to give a speech at a new hospital or visit the British troops stationed in Africa. No. They are stepping back from their royal duties. You've probably seen a Star Wars movie. George Lucas is the famous creator of these movies. He sold the franchise to Disney in 2012 after the first 6 movies had come out. He had sketched the outlines of a third trilogy, 3 more movies, but he didn't want to do the grueling work of creating them. So he decided it was time to step back from running his movie studio, and he sold it to Disney. Disney, of course, still took his calls. George Lucas visited the sets of the movies when they were being filmed. He also collaborated with Disney about the future direction of the franchise. But when he sold his studio to Disney, he stepped back from his primary job of creating those Star Wars movies. JR's song of the week is Mighty Little Man by Steve Burns. Some of you may have seen The Big Bang Theory. In fact, I know from some of your notes that more than a few of you have seen it. There's an entire series about Sheldon as a younger kid. It's called Young Sheldon. It traces his experiences as a child prodigy in a pretty average home in a nondescript town in Texas. Fun fact about the song, Steve Burns used to host a children's television show on Nickelodeon. It was aimed at preschoolers, and he did that for 7 years. So when he came out with his own album of music, like real adult music, critics weren't expecting much, but they liked what they heard, and CBS made one of his songs the theme to Young Sheldon. So that's this week's Song of the Week, Mighty Little Man by Steve Burns. And that is all for today's lesson. Congratulations for making it to the end. Remember, the full lesson continues online at plainenglish.com/343. And for you Plain English Plus members, remember we have 2 new types of exercises included in the lessons these days, preposition practice and vocabulary practice. Knowing the right preposition is sometimes the difference between sounding natural and sounding a little off, so you'll want to practice those. And now every lesson comes with a practice exercise on prepositions. So that's on the exercise page right alongside the pronunciation, listening, verb tense, and lesson quizzes. If you're not yet a member, what are you waiting for? Just visit us at plainenglish.com/plus to join today. We'll be back on Monday. See you then.